Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a general collective reading, so there's no signs attached to it, so only take it if it resonates with you within the first couple of minutes. But it also kind of feels like it's a continuation of the Virgo rising video that I did yesterday, but it doesn't have to be. So I'm gonna do it as if it's a separate reading. But that reading may resonate with you if this one does. So I'll link it above just in case you're interested. Let's get started. The overall context here, you have the Flame and Hunter. And the reason why I'm holding the Hunter up like this is because the way that the cards are shaped, right? Like this sort of like the shape and also the colors, right? And I was getting, before this reading, this sort of energy of like two events that are exactly the same in some way, right? Like there's something similar about the two events, but slightly different circumstances. And so like an example, a couple of examples, first would be sort of like in the Matrix where Neo sees like the black cat go by once and then it goes by twice the second time. And that tells you there's sort of like like the glitch in the Matrix. Another example that happened to me today, it's been happening a lot to me, but one example is that like yesterday I lost an earring. It's like a metal hoop. So the first event was me finding my metal earring again. It was just sitting on the floor in my room. And what was interesting is that like, because it was a hoop, the circle was broken, right? Like the ring was broken. And then later on in the day, I found another metal ring, not an earring, but it was like significant enough that it like stuck out to me, where it was like a little metal ring on the floor, but this time the ring was closed. And so it's kind of like what this is talking about. It's like there's two events. One where it feels kind of just like whatever, just like a thing happens. It's not really that like significant until the second thing happens that's almost exactly the same but slightly different circumstances, and the second one is what matters is kind of how it's coming through. Because what I'm seeing here in the cards is that there's like two events, one that feels like it's almost like it's associated with loss of some sort, or like something coming to an end, or like metaphorically a broken ring, right? Like so the first couple of cards here, you have the Shapeshifter, which talks about like having to go through some sort of transformation. I'm gonna keep it broadly like that, and it's also coming out here with the tiger, with this sort of like sliver of the tiger here, because the tiger to me talks about like whatever this event is, this like strange occurrence, because it's kind of feeling like a coincidence is something that happens once, right? If it happens twice, then it's not, you can't consider it a coincidence anymore, right? That's kind of like why I'm talking about it as being sort of a continuation from yesterday's reading, where I feel like there's someone here who's like doubting or like trying to reason their way out of like a coincidental event. But it's kind of like if it happens twice, it's no longer a coincidence, right? It's something like that. Anyways, the first instance of whatever this event is, it kind of feels like it's activating in some way, right? With this tiger, I often say this is like being activated, or being like it's like being on high alert, because whatever that event is associated with some sort of perhaps panic, or just like needing to like use all of your senses, right? It's kind of like a fight or flight kind of energy, where it's like being on high alert because of like something that's happening, like whatever it is that's happening, it's associated with sort of like this Eight of Cups, which talks about like a situation that you can no longer stay in and you have to leave it, is kind of how it's coming through. So a situation that is like requiring change. And it's also coming through here with the bat, which is talking about like having to leave a situation. It is talking about like a sort of a death and rebirth transition kind of energy. And you also have here the Wheel of Fortune, which talks about that, and the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is a sudden change. So all of this energy that's happening, whatever this significant event is or was for you, it was in order to highlight an area of your life that is needing to go through some sort of change. And that's why the shapeshifter is out. It's kind of like it's trying to get you into this energy, the shapeshifter. It's trying to get you to change shape in some way. And the next card to come out is the Destroyer. The Destroyer card, which is a very intense energy, but it's kind of like, because both of these two cards were talking about like having an external circumstance that is difficult in some way. Like it's like out of your control. It's not something that is within your control. It's kind of like there's just a destroyer energy around you, or like around your environment, or changing the environment. The destroyer energy is changing the environment around you in some way in order to get you to shift. And it's like, it's kind of like what I was getting here is that this Wheel of Fortune is very significant because it's kind of like in the glitch in the Matrix, the first event doesn't really count was what was coming through. It's like, it was a practice run. It's like something that like wouldn't, like, I feel like whatever the situation is, put you in sort of the tiger energy of like being alert, but it's kind of like there's not any real sort of lasting consequence from that is kind of how it's coming through. It's a practice run. The results of whatever that event was don't count or don't have lasting impact. And then what's happening next is kind of like the same event is happening again, right? It's happening again as like the second black cat is passing by. But this time, because you're in this state, it's like when that event happens, you're ready for it, because the next card coming out is the High Priestess, which is the same animal, right? But it's kind of like this one's much more calm or much more ready or much more prepared for whatever that first practice run energy was, right? It's like you're prepared for it now. And what's coming out on top of that, which I love, is the Starborn, because it talks about like the destined path, that whatever this event was, it's kind of like the universe gave you a practice run to prepare you for it, right? To get you on alert in some way. But it's like whatever happened here, it feels like it stirred up all of this sort of like almost like chaos, right? It kind of feels like chaos, it's like that kind of energy. But what's coming out after this High Priestess, right? The second time around is the Ten of Cups. So both of these are tens, right? Both of these are talking about the same thing. It's like this is the first time you tried it, the Wheel of Fortune. Practice run, perhaps a mess, or perhaps stirred up all of this energy. It's kind of coming through as being, because I said like fight or flight, it's like whatever happened the first time around, the practice run, stirred up all of the potentially negative reactions perhaps that you might have had about the situation. It stirred all of that up almost to like see what it is that you're working with. It's kind of like, it's just kind of like bringing all of that up so that it doesn't happen a second time is kind of how it's coming through. Because this is the one that counts, is what's coming through. Because I'm just seeing this as being like all of this chaos is now turning into order. So it's kind of like the universe knew on some level, whatever phrasing, like these are just the words that I'm choosing, but whatever this event was, if it was a glitch or something, that the first time around, there was an anticipated reaction, right? This is sort of like your conditioned response. Like in face of some sort of challenging energy, what is it that your natural instinct is to react, right? And it's kind of like it brought all that up. And now it's kind of like, now that you're on alert, the second time this strange occurrence happens, it's like you are able to respond to it in a way that's not from a place of instinctively reacting to it, but more so in like an ordered way, right? It's like, this is the one that counts. This is the one where it's like you're doing all the right things, you're reacting properly, or like having... This is the one that counts, is kind of how it's coming through here. Whatever this second event is, it's like, this is the one that's the 10 of Cups. And it's the 10 of Cups for a reason. This is coming through as being like something that's very emotionally fulfilling in some way. Like, it's like being very happy, or being in love, or like having all of this joy that just like radiates out of you, because it's kind of like you want to be in this energy, is kind of how it's feeling. Like, whenever there's some sort of like event that's perhaps frightening or whatever, like, you want to be calm about it. It's kind of like the universe knew that, though, that the first time around you were going to react like this, and so they gave you a practice run, so that when it actually matters, you can be in this state, is what's coming through here with the Starborn. And what I love next is that it's coming out here with the Eternal Child. The Eternal Child, and then you have here the Daughter of Wands, which is all of this energy of, like, play and creativity, right? Like, just, like, having fun with it. Having fun with it, because I feel like maybe there was an energy of being kind of serious in the first part, especially with the tiger. Like, it's kind of like, this is like again, like fight or flight, like very serious is kind of how it's feeling, whereas this one's much more playful, because I feel like whatever it is the situation is for you, it is going to require this, right? It's going to require creating from a place of joy with the Eternal Child. Because it's like, there's something here about, like, the first couple of cards here, especially Shapeshifter and Eternal Child, talks about, like, wanting to be free from rules or structures that are too defined. So it could be something that you were in this sort of, like, perhaps like a structured way of thinking or something like that. And it's kind of like that had to go through some sort of destroyer energy, where it's like you were thinking too much along the same lines, and you had to go through this in order to reach this, like, potential energy, or like a destined path, is just how I'm gonna leave it. I know that's such a big sort of idea, but again, it's kind of just like, be playful with it. There's something here about, like, don't take it too seriously. I feel like there's something about, like, someone's taking something really seriously when it's kind of like it has to be a bit more light, especially with these cards coming out, because the Son of Swords has been coming up so much, and the Lamb coming out next to it. This Lamb actually talks about, like, truth that comes from almost like a child, right? With the Eternal Child coming out, it specifically talks about, like, a childlike truth or innocence, but with the Son of Swords, it's determination. So it's kind of coming through this energy of, like, whatever it is that you're searching for is going to come in by, like, this childlike state, is kind of how it's feeling when you're just, like, playing, so to speak, or having fun with it, or exploring, doing something creative, something like that. It's like, that's when the truth comes in. But it's really interesting, though, because the next couple of cards to come out, you have here the Box and the Gem, because I think about, so the Box card was coming in as being, like, rules, right? Because it's kind of like, and structure as well, and kind of like Saturn energy, like discipline, because I feel like there's kind of like this interesting thing happening here with the gem, where the gem is the thing of value, the thing that you want, or the thing that you're searching for, or whatever, right? But the thing about the gem is that it is found in an environment that's totally opposite from it, right? It's like the diamond that is found in the rough, right? So the thing that you're searching for is within an environment that is the opposite to it. So it's kind of like, especially if it's here with the eternal child, where it's like you're searching for fun, or you're searching for creativity, or you're searching for joy, or you're searching for whatever it is that this energy represents to you. It's almost like you have to go into an environment that is the opposite of that. So if it's like you're searching for clarity, for example, right? You actually have to go into an environment that is confusing or not clear, for example, in order to find the clarity, because it's kind of like you need the contrast. That's what you need, the contrast. You need the contrast in order to be able to identify like the thing of value, because there's also all this energy of like the stars, because of what's like the starborn, right? You can't see the stars when the sun is out because there's not enough contrast. You need a dark sky in order to see the bright lights. That's what's coming through here. So whatever it is for you that you're searching for, you have to go into the opposite direction, is what that's feeling like, which I feel like is such a counterintuitive energy. But anyways, because the next card out is this crocodile card, which talks about intentionally withdrawing from the thing that you're trying to find, is kind of how it's coming through. Like, and it's not just about waiting. It's not just about like sort of idling or being or whatever. It's like trying to intentionally gather information in an environment of like darkness, for example, right? Or perhaps confusion or whatever. It's kind of like there's something here about like, and I put the cards away because I thought that I'd recorded the message and I thought I was done with it, but I needed to do it again because of what the message was saying, is that you have to go through it. You have to do it twice. It's like it's a practice. What the first one's practice, the second one is the real deal. Hold on. Okay, what we have next here, we have the bear and the hummingbird. So the bear is coming out after the crocodile, where it's like a period of intentionally withdrawing. And then with the bear, it's coming out with sort of like the awakening process, right? Of like beginning anew. And with the hummingbird, it talks about like being able to find the nectar, or like being able to find what nourishes you, or where to find nourishment. Because I feel like there's kind of this energy of like, because you're searching for, I'm just going to call it freedom of some sort, right? Like you're searching for freedom or whatever it is that you're searching for, there may be a reluctance to go into the box, is kind of how it's feeling, where whatever this like structured environment is, it's kind of like there's a reluctance to go into the box because it, like, that's the opposite of what you're looking for. So how would I find freedom in a place where there's no freedom, right? It's kind of like that energy, but I feel like you are going to find this gem, whatever it is. It's an intentional going into the place that is the opposite of what you're searching for. And then finally, like after you sort of get this truth that you're searching for, you have these three major arcana here with the world, the death, and the star, which is, the world, of course, talks about like completing a cycle, right? Like completeness, wholeness. It's like the second time around the ring closes is kind of how it's feeling. And then here with the death card, this is talking about, it was specifically coming out with closure, like getting closure about a situation, like moving past it, like being able to move forward from some sort of difficult transition. And then finally you have here the star, which again is sort of reinforcing that energy of like you need the dark background in order to see the star. But this is, it was coming through with just like hope, right? Like feeling hopeful about something, or just about in general. It doesn't have to be even about something. That's what this card was coming through with, this message of like, when you look up at the stars, for example, if you're just like out at night and you look up at the stars, there's no purpose about that, right? There's no intent. Well, maybe there are intentions perhaps, but it's kind of like there's no agenda, there's no purpose, there's no reason for doing it. It's kind of just like you just do it because it gives you peace, or it fills you with hope, or whatever. There's a serenity that comes with this card that we're ending with, because it's kind of like you have to be in this state, right? It's like maybe whatever it is that you're doing has too much like, I don't know, like with the Wheel of Fortune, like too much energy attached to it, where it's kind of like it's not it's a reaction versus something that has no reaction or has no intention attached to it, is kind of how it's feeling. Has no intention attached to it. There's no intention when you look up at the stars. It's just kind of like, there's the Big Dipper, there's the North Star, and it's just kind of like you just see it and it's there. There's no purpose. That's a strange message to say, but I feel like it's kind of like here with the gem, right? You find purpose when you're doing something that has no purpose, right? Like just looking up at the stars, and then you sort of have this epiphany maybe about like, oh, that's what it's about, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to leave it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye.